down?
Right now, we're 50% down from last year.
Really? I'm doing the best that I can with the best that I have.
That particular pivot, I discovered that I had to be creative.
And really just evaluate, who you are.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Pivotal Moments with Lilita. I am really tickled about today's guest. So Nia Mobley is just doing amazing things. First of all, just looking at some of the things that she has done was just mind-blowing to me, from just event management and all kind of fabulous things. But what really drew me to her was these beautiful kids subscription boxes that she does, Psalm and Sanaa. Beautiful kids boxes, and I'm just really excited to talk with her about that and with her about her pivotal moment. So without further delay, let's get into it. Welcome to the conversation, Nia.
Hi, how are you? I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So like I said, you have just been doing amazing things. And so I don't know if you want to, kind of talk about your journey up to your boxes, but tell a little bit more. I gave you, a kind of brief introduction, but tell a little bit more about just what you're doing and about your boxes.
Sure. But yeah, as you mentioned, I do have a background in event planning. I've worked in corporate event planning for over 15 years, corporate meetings and events. And I've also have a event planning design company, Purposeful Events. But that was all kind of my passion, and still is my passion, pre-babies. And once I had babies, again, event planning is still my number one passion. I do that a lot. But the girls just kind of took me over. There's so much fashion cuteness with girls and little babies. So I dove all the way into that, like head first.
Yes.
And I began Psalm and Sanaa, which are my two daughters. They are 8 and 6 years old. I began that in 2014 after Sanaa was born. I used to like to have them coordinate with my husband's accessories. And it was very hard for me to find unique accessories for little babies. It was always like the big bowls and, the solid colors. And I liked a lot of patterns and different style of hair accessories. So I started to make my own, and I would make a coordinating piece for my husband, like a lapel pin or handkerchief or something that kind of coordinated with what the girls were wearing. Very soon, people started asking me, they started inquiring, where did you get these items from? And I'm like, oh, I make them. And it became such a hit that we started an Etsy page, and we operated off of Etsy, and I was hand making bowls in my living room, and it was growing and growing and growing and getting out of control. And we sat down and we, subscription boxes were kind of like catching on around in 2015. Of course, we know subscriptions from like back in the day, but they were like making this new resurgence in the industry. And we sat down, and my mom, she kind of whispered, oh, you should do a subscription. And I was like, who would want a subscription for hair accessories? That doesn't make sense, because at the time I think it was like wine subscription clubs,
right?
And, it was very adult,
right?
Kids. And then my husband said the same thing, like, no, you should. A subscription box will make sense. And then we started kind of like looking into it more and more. Like, oh, okay, this would make sense, because we saw that there were very few kid subscriptions. boxes at the time, but they were not fashion related at all. So they were more like sensory toys for children with autism, and some great boxes, Montessori style learning toys, but nothing fashion related. And once we kind of got started, we started seeing little trickles of kids' fashion boxes with actual clothing pieces that they would send out. And again, we were so unique because we were accessories, and not only for girls, we're accessories for boys and girls, actually. So, yeah, and it's just been picking up from there. It's been 2 years. We started the subscription in 2018. So we are like just going straight ahead with it.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. I've seen pictures and videos, and it is just so cute and so adorable and just amazing. So congrats on that. So let's get into pivotal moments. So with all that being said, what pivotal moment would you like to share with us today?
Oh, well, there's so many. Again, like I said, we did do a pivot from hand making, because I no longer hand make the bows. We do sell. We buy and we purchase inventory and we sell. But we actually shop. That's why we call ourselves personal shoppers for kids, because we actually spend a lot of time shopping, and the girls are very active with it as well. So that was a big pivot as well. Going from handmade to selling items. To keep that type of handmade, hand-felt, heartfelt kind of vibe going, we started featuring other women makers. So other women who have businesses where they make accessories for children. So one of those shops is called Our Southern Gentleman. Another one is called Like Candy to My Soul. And this month we're featuring a woman out of Baltimore who sells face masks. Her name of her company escapes me, but I think it's Coco Lynn. We are featuring her face masks as well. But yeah, so we search for small business women who own small businesses, who are makers. We search for them, and we like to promote their items within our audience and in our boxes. So that was, one pivot in our, from me actually having to hand make to supporting other women who, had that bandwidth to hand make. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's awesome. And I love that. I love the community, connection and putting other people on. I think that's what it's all about. So
Yes.
Yeah. So when you think about this pivot, what did you discover was that unchangeable thing of importance for you? When we talk about pivotal moments, we always talk about that one central thing that kind of causes the shift, because it's so important, and we recognize we have to make changes because of it. So for you, what did you discover was of central importance for you?
Well, my time, and our family needed to have our living room back, because it was literally like fabric and glue guns and lace and this and that, all across the living room table. Yes. And it was like, okay, we need this space. This is not your workshop.
Right.
So, but really time and resources. I, had two, my girls are 18 months apart. So almost like twins, but not quite, but, two very little babies. So just having that time back was very, very essential.
Wow. And I can definitely appreciate that, respect it, because we take for granted just how valuable time is, until we recognize that we're running out of it. But I love that you made this pivot because you respected the value of time. And that's something we all need to think about.
Yeah, because we cannot buy it and we can't get it back. Yeah.
Wow. So now switching gears a bit to adjustment. So I always talk about this, when we think about adjustments, adjusting is a little bit of a different tone. It really has to do with adapting to something. And sometimes that's not all that favorable. So can you tell us about a time when you had to make an adjustment rather than a pivot?
Yeah. Well, let me think. So with the boxes again, when it was a new industry. So now we're not just doing girl accessories and men accessories. We're adding little boys to the mix as well. So, and then I didn't want to do the football and the basketball in the car. And like, I was like, no, if we're going to do boys, we got to really search and find, we got to dig deep to get real quality, nice, colorful accessories that is just not just your typical, So we did have to adjust a lot because also because not only because we added boys, but we also added different age groups as well. So when we shop, we have to say, okay, we're going to shop for infants to toddlers, then big toddlers to little kids, then kids to big kids, so that, that was a lot. But once we adjusted our thinking with that and made a plan and got it down packed, now it just becomes a little bit like, secondhand motion. We know that we have these groups that we need to buy for.
Yeah, I really like that because, excuse me, really it's showing that when we make these adjustments, sometimes they're unfavorable, they're hard initially, but if we take the time and really just allow the adjustment to take place, then a lot of times it does become less of an adjustment and more comfortable. And it can actually become part of what's important to us, actually,
Yeah.
And, go ahead.
It's funny that you say that because then it very soon became that we had more boy subscribers than girls. So it was just like, wow, this was a great idea. I'm so glad we did it. Right. Let's keep going. Even though at first it was very hard to find unique items for them. It was difficult. And I'm not a boy mom, so I have a lot of empathy for these women who, or in their dads too, who just want something like a little out of the norm, and it's not easy to come by.
Wow. And another takeaway that I'm picking up, and I just love these conversations so much because there's just so many nuggets that people drop. But especially as entrepreneurs, what I really also am hearing is the benefit of taking time, really perfecting your craft, going against what may be comfortable and what you may be used to, stepping out of your comfort zone, but still making sure you stick to that measure of quality. Yes. And I love that message. Like, I don't even know if you realize that you just dropped that.
I didn't realize that I dropped it, but it's so true because the other thing is, like, with any entrepreneur, their business is their baby. And you're like, oh, my baby is perfect. It nothing needs that. But if you stay in that space and in that mindset, you're not going to grow. And you have to read your target audience. Very quickly, we just knew moms are going to be all over this. Very quickly, we found out moms are not our audience at all. It's not moms. Moms are like, oh, that's nice. That's cute. It's the grandmothers. It's the grandfathers. It's the aunties. It's the uncles. Those people are our audience. And those who are buying, they're buying for kids that they can't so especially now with COVID, who they can't, visit, don't see every day or weekly or even monthly. And they're like, I want my niece and nephew to know that I'm thinking about them. I want to be a part of their life growing up. So those type of people are our audience. Once the mom get the box, once they receive the box, they're like, oh, so I don't have to go shopping for socks for you this month because you have, I see what's going on. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they kind of like get on it. But our really our targeted audience are those adults who are removed from children, and they really, really want to be a part of their lives.
Wow. That, like I said, that is definitely a gem. We might have to do a whole nother show just about some business basics, because that is really, really good. Really good. Wow. Well, as we come to the end of our conversations, I always hate when these are ending, but what would you like to say directly from you to the viewers, whether it's a quote or motivation or whatever it is? What do you want to say directly to our viewers?
Wow. I just want to say that, if you are thinking of starting a business, or if you are already, in the beginning stages of it, like sometimes it feels like you're talking to yourself. When you're on Instagram, when you're on IG Live, when you're on your blog and you're writing these beautiful blogs and no one's reading them, but you have to keep that up. Don't stop starting. So once you, if you started and you start again, keep going, keep it up, and people will catch on. People will catch on, and you'll learn, and you'll pivot, and you'll adjust. And if it's there, it's there. Just keep going at it. That's what it is. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, you got to keep starting. Yeah.
Yes. Well, Nia, like I said, you have dropped some really good gems. I definitely feel like we must meet again. That so many of us are, at different stages in our entrepreneur life. And, it's good. The advice you're giving and some of the things that you're sharing is just so good to remember. So I really, really appreciate it. I really enjoy it.
I enjoyed this too. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. We really appreciate this. Thanks so much.
Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching another episode of Pivotal Moments with Lolita. As always, it's been an enjoyable conversation. I'm sure you're writing down or taking mental notes about all of the gems that Nia dropped today. But as always, thank you for your support and tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Pivotal Moments with Lolita.
All right. See ya.